Oh, what a week 4. Lots of big injuries, lots to talk about, and I can't remember the last time there's this many running backs that are worth picking up. So let's get right into it so we can get through these since, like I said, a lot to talk about. But thank you to our sponsor, mybookie.ag. Where you bet's just as important as who you bet on, so that's why they're the most trusted sports book on the web. Click on the link in the description, use the promo code SMACK, get up to 100% sign-up bonus. Their motto is you play, you win, you get paid. So check them out. Couple things, I shoot these before the Monday night game, so if anything crazy happens, just keep that in mind. And also, I have these kind of ranked in order of how I would pick them up if they were available in my league, so just keep that in mind as we're going down the list. So I start with the pickup of the week, kind of the guy that's going to get the most attention, the most exciting pickup. And this week, I think it's just got to be Latavius Murray. I mean, I'm not super excited if I get him on my team, but if you own Dalvin Cook like I did, unfortunately, you need somebody, and he's at least going to be a starting running back. He's going to get the goal lines. That Minnesota offense just can't seem to stay healthy. They might get Bradford back this week. We'll see, but Murray's going to get some volume. Like I said, he'll get the goal lines. He needs to be owned in all leagues. Let's take a look at the rest of the running backs. Bilal Powell. He showed week 4 why he was getting drafted where he was on draft day, because the potential is there. The Jets just need to go away from Forte. I mean, Powell looked great, and Elijah McGuire, who I've talked about in prior weeks and I have on this list a little bit later on, he's a really fun pickup as well. The Jets hopefully will just go with those two and turn it into a two-headed monster and make it a little easier on the fantasy community. Wendell Smallwood is next, only on 60% of leagues. I think Blunt is still the better play out there, but I think Smallwood could be more consistent just because he'll be involved in the passing game and the running game some. So Smallwood, solid week 4. Surprised he was only owned in 60% of leagues since he was a hot pickup last week. Duke Johnson still only on 65% of leagues. The Browns aren't using Crowell as much as in the passing game anymore this year than they did compared to last year. Duke Johnson's been getting a lot more involved. He's been pretty consistent so far. He's been finding the end zone. Duke Johnson needs to be on the more leagues. All right, let's talk about the Seattle situation. Right when we get some clarity, all right, Carson's the guy. He goes out, nasty injury. So now it's an even bigger mess than before. So what do? I think Rawls is the pickup. I mean, if you had to pick between all of them, I think Rawls is the one to go after. Lacey looked okay, but I think they're still going to go with Rawls. They're saying, I got CJ Prosise on this list a little bit later, and McKissick as well. They're interesting. McKissick looked pretty fun. He was very interesting, but it's just a mess. But I would rank them in order of Rawls, Lacey, Prosise, McKissick until we get a little bit more clarity. But that is just an absolute mess now. So with the Giants situation, Gallman looked pretty good for the Giants. Now Perkins got hurt, that's why he got a chance, but Perkins hasn't looked good all year. So Gallman, I think, should be added in all leagues just until we see what happens with this. I mean, maybe not quite all leagues, but any type of league where you have any type of depth on your bench, I think there's a team in every league that can find room for him. He's only on 5% of leagues right now. Then Andre Ellington I want to talk about. He's been looking like the most valuable Cardinals running back. I mean, Chris Johnson's kind of getting the start and getting most of the carries, but Ellington's been very involved in the passing game. I think he should be added in more leagues, only on 25% right now. Let's keep moving. We've got plenty of guys. Alex Collins is next with Baltimore. It's simple with him. He's their best running back, I feel, but he's got the fumbling issues. So he's got kind of a short leash right now, but if you're going to own a Ravens running back or start a Ravens running back at this point, I think it's Alex Collins. Then Aaron Jones I want to talk about. Ty Montgomery has the rib issue. Williams is hurt. He's out for a few weeks or so. So Aaron Jones might get a start. It doesn't sound like Montgomery's injury is that serious. He might just put one of those flak jackets on and get out there. But Jones might get a start, so just keep that in mind. He is now the handcuff for Montgomery, at least for the time being. All right, a few more running backs. McFadden and Morris. As of I'm shooting this video, we haven't heard anything on the Elliott suspension and what's going on with that. If I had to bet money, I would say McFadden is still the handcuff, but Morris has looked pretty good. So this has just turned into an absolute mess for all of the Elliott owners. But I wanted to talk about them and just say, as of now, I haven't heard anything, but I wanted to put them on the list. All right, let's talk about FanDuel real quick. Shout out to our Week 4 winner, Reeser123. Won our Beat the Experts FanDuel Challenge. Gonna win a sweet t-shirt. If you wanna play against us, click on the link in the description. It's a $5 game. You win the cash just like you would in any other tournament, and you also win a sweet t-shirt. I didn't do too good Week 4, put too much stock in the Denver offense. They let me down. Let's talk about some receivers. Devin Funchess, only owning 30% of leagues. You know, even with Benjamin playing Week 4, Funchess had a big game. And, you know, that might have been just the spark that the Panthers needed to get that offense going. They looked pretty good Week 4. Funchess, I think, should be added in more leagues. And Adam Humphries, I think, is interesting. Only owning 5% of leagues. He's been getting consistently targeted. And that Bucs offense, I think, is headed very much in the right direction. And I think there will be a lot of streaky pieces on that offense, but I think for the most part, Evans and Humphries, I think, will be pretty consistent. You know, I think the tight ends and Deshaun Jackson will probably be the most inconsistent on that offense, but I think Humphries should definitely be owning more than 5% of leagues. And then Will Fuller, he's back. He looked good Week 4. We all saw what he did at the beginning of last year. Very explosive, fun player. Only on 35% of leagues. Watson has really got that offense going right now. So Fuller, I think, should be added in more leagues. Then a few more for you. Sanu looks like he might miss a few weeks. So Gabriel is interesting for Atlanta. They are on a bye Week 5, so keep that in mind. But you might get a couple good games out of him. And then Zay Jones, with the Matthews injury, he could be in line for a few more targets. Let's take a look at quarterbacks. A couple of rookies. Watson, I mean, it's clear with him at this point. He's in the QB1 discussion. He's got to be. There's a lot of teams out there that might not be so happy with their quarterbacks. And Watson, because what he can do with his legs and just what he's been doing in general, needs to be treated as a QB1. And then Trubisky, I'm excited to see what he can do. He's going to get his chance Week 5 to start. Not the easiest matchup going up against Minnesota, but any type of 2 QB league, really deep leagues, I think Trubisky, because he can be kind of a dual threat with his legs as well, so I'm excited to see what he can do. Tight end, I don't know what Evan Ingram needs to do to get picked up. Maybe he just needs, to have one big blow-up week, but I know he hasn't had that big week, but he's been so consistent, and with the tight ends, I'd much rather have a tight end get me between 6 and 10 points every week than get me 2 points one week and 20 points another. Like, he's just been so solid so far, getting consistently targeted. I think he needs to be on in more than 50% of leagues. And then Brayton Howard for Tampa Bay, I just touched on that situation a little bit. I think they're going to be inconsistent, but that offense definitely headed in the right direction. I think they'll have some big weeks. And then Croft for Cincinnati, looks like he could have some value in touchdown-heavy leagues until Eifert comes back. Now I got 2 pick-up-and-play defenses for you. Oakland versus Baltimore. Oakland's D-line is just amazing, and I think they're going to, and Baltimore just has not looked good. Flacco's not right, and that offense is just struggling, so I like Oakland. And then Buffalo at Cincinnati. Buffalo's D's look pretty solid, and Cincy, definitely inconsistent this year on the offensive end. They can't get Mixon going. Dalton's looked okay, but I think Buffalo could be a decent pick-up-and-play defense for you. Not a lot of great options this week on if you stream defenses. So this is the best that I could see. So go ahead and grab one of those 2 if you're streaming defenses. So that's our Week 5 waiver wire. It's going to be busy. If there's a week to spend your fab money, it's this one. So get out there, put your bids in, and good luck on the wire. If you got questions, post them in the comments, and good luck Week 5.